I oversee the design side and drafting of the core structure, as well as liaising with the design teams and the main contractor.
My key role was, as I say, designing the connections and trying to obtain the information from the design team.
We had heavy steel with quite complicated connections, as well as handrails, ladders and a lot of secondary steel. To finish so tight project on time, we had to coordinate all the SDM departments together between Poland and the UK, allowing multiple users to work on the same design model at the same time.
Seeing the core come to life and being built has been very, very interesting. Seeing the first photos of it, especially as it's not painted and it's in its natural state, is amazing. It's like the old pictures you used to see of the skyscrapers going up in New York.
The nice thing about the core is it is something for the NHS, which is a nice project. Always nice to do something for the community.
I've enjoyed that I've been able to get so involved with the design and finance side of things. I've also been able to do a lot of quantity surveying and repricing of work because it's changed so much since tender. So I've been able to get really deep into that.
What I've enjoyed the most in the core project was a variation of things that we had to draw, fabricate, and the fact it was for the NHS, so everything had to be done perfect and everything had to be done on time. And we love the challenge this one provided, because when you're doing projects like this, you can always learn something new, and I'm sure that everyone at SDM involved in the core project learned something that will make them better at what they do.
Is going to be another hospital, so it's going to be an extension of the Evelina Children's Hospital. It's a combination of surgical theatres, wards and offices for the NHS staff. Execution Class 3 is all about fabrication and testing, so it's to do with CE marking and traceability of steel. When you're doing structural elements, you need to be able to trace the steel from its creation all the way through, and that needs to be traceable for many years in the future. Execution Class 3 is a much higher level of testing than standard buildings. It's used for bridges, hospitals, quite specialist items. And SDM, fortunately, is Class 4, so they can do 1, 2, 4. And it means that we are able to do a much higher level of steel fabrication.
To do an Execution Class 3 project is slightly more challenging. It has different aspects and additional work for the drawing office in the way we prepare the drawings. It just means there is a little bit more thoroughness that we have to do, but we're up to that task.
So SDM deals with material traceability from the very beginning of the project. As soon as we buy the steel, we get steel certificates, test certificates that come from the steel mills where it's rolled. We follow that all the way through. We then trace each piece of steel through and to where it goes on the building. It's CE marked, which then is put into a material traceability report, which is provided to the customer at the end of the project in the O&M manual. It's gone very well at the core. It's something SDM always do as a rule, and our team are highly trained in it. So it's been from the very first day we've followed material traceability all the way through.
So the build commenced while the country was on COVID-19 lockdown. We've maintained social distancing. Morgan Sindall are very strict and have been very strict all the way through on social distancing. So we all had our jabs early, which gives us a bit of confidence in coming into London every day. We've worked safely and it hasn't really affected how we've worked here.
SDM are a family-owned business, therefore they have family core values at heart. As a business, we always strive to do our very best for all of our clients, irrespective of what size of job it is, irrespective of who the main contractors are.
I think Morgan Sindall chose SDM to work on this project because we are Execution Class 3. Not all steel fabricators can do Execution Class 3, and I think SDM do it very well, and I think previous projects from SDM definitely contributed to winning the core project.
Our package here was 500 tonne of fabricated steelwork. We've done the secking and the studs as the buildings progress. K-Guard's gone on to provide edge protection.
Next for SDM on the core is we're moving on to the secondary steelwork. which the design is almost finalised. So we will be installing all of the elements that frame the windows, the doors, the louvers, and all of the support steelwork for the external elements, cladding and architectural features.
We had challenges from the start, but we've overcome all the challenges as we've come through. We had weight restrictions, we've solved that, we found suitable plant that we could use.
The logistical constraints on this job have been one of the most demanding that SDM have experienced in the last 10 years. We are trying to erect nigh on a 500-tonne building surrounded by 3 existing hospital buildings. Therefore, our AP, which is Tony Anderson, has had to carefully consider every single lifting operation on this job and select plant and equipment to do those tasks.
Here at the core, this building actually overlaps an existing building on the north elevation, and because of this we weren't able to put columns down on the very end. This means that we had to put some very large steel sections and connections, one grid line in from the end of the building. This actually means there's a cantilever, it hangs out above one of the existing buildings. It was a lengthy design process. There's a very, very large connection there, but it's been designed well to take the load.
I've been lucky to have a good team here from day one, really. I've had Albie as site supervisor. He started off with Sean and Elsie as his team. That went on for quite a while. They got the main bulk of the building up. With a good reliable team, it's enabled the job to progress really well. Been no issues whatsoever with the erection. They're very capable of what they've been doing, and now that the project's nearing the end, I'm very proud of all they've achieved here and what they've done for me, and I look forward to doing another job with them.
The job has been very challenging, therefore it has its own rewards in certain ways, because it's not every day that we do this sort of a job in the middle of London. SDM has risen to the challenge, both in the design office, in the drawing office, in the workshop. They've done some fantastically complicated lumps of steel.
It's actually really rewarding to see a building that is going to be a hospital. It's going to help people in the future and it's going to save lives.